Zoro versus the Hashira, the most popular swordsman in anime versus the most popular anime based around swords. Hi, I'm Roxy World, and today we're breaking it down starting now with the Hashira. Now, the Hashira scale directly to the upper moons, and while they are generally, on average, I would say weaker, they are still relative. So that means they should have similar feats of strength and speed. So, for example, we see multiple upper moons being able to destroy city block level areas, except there is another one by upper rank 2 named Doma. Doma was able to create a massive ice statue that's been calced to city block level. And then you have Muzan, who, while not directly scaling to, they do seem relative. They were able to harm him and all that other stuff. Well, he was able to destroy multiple city blocks, so that should put them at city block level. Now, they all should scale relative. This is because they all have similar feats, and they're all generally relative. Like, for example, Tengen, Rengoku, even though they didn't unlock their Demon Slayer marks, they both seemed relative to the other Demon Slayers when fighting the upper moons. It's just they were at a disadvantage. So, obviously, they would still scale. Everything seems to be good. Now, let's move on to speed. Speed is a little bit of a tricky one. So, all the Hashira are able to move they're able to react and keep pace with lightning. This is impressive, obviously, due to the fact that lightning is extremely fast, and all the Hashira, again, scale to one another. While there are instances of some Hashira being faster, that generally means that at the very basis, they should all be relatively above lightning. So, this means we end up with 9 characters who are faster than lightning and have city block level attack potency. Okay, good. Now, on to Zoro. Zoro, we're going to be using from pre-time skip. Now, let's start off with speed. So, speed, we have Zoro being able to dodge attacks from Kuma. Kuma stating that he's able to propel air at the speed of light. So that would obviously imply that Zoro's reaction speed is speed of light level. So he should be able to move close to that speed. Not on par, but close. Now, let's get into attack potency. So attack potency, Zoro scales directly to Gear 2 Luffy. Gear 2 Luffy and Gear 3 Luffy were both able to damage Gecko Moria. Gecko Moria obviously destroyed the town, or not a town, he destroyed his own island, Thriller Bark, and was able to split it in half. This is stated by pretty much everyone there. And since Luffy was able to harm Moria and Zoro is capable of keeping pace with Luffy, this would obviously imply that he is around island level. So, now that we have both of our stats done, let's talk about how the fight would go down. Now, as you can most likely guess, Zoro has a massive disadvantage when it comes to the raw power. However, there is 9 of the Hashira. So, it's more of a case of what can the Hashira attempt to do against Zoro. And to be honest, unfortunately, it is not that much. Not only does Zoro have better attack potency, better speed, which is going to allow him to almost in instance blitz the other opponents. He also has better feats of endurance. Yes, Rengoku and Tengen and most of the other Hashira were able to fight during extreme conditions. However, Zoro was able to fight at Thriller Bark from, all day until all night. Then he fought Kuma for a brief moment, and keep in mind it was very brief, But then he had his great moment that everyone knows about and everyone loves. So to say that Zoro has the advantage in endurance is an understatement. As I said before, Shinobu's poison most likely wouldn't work, especially since One Piece characters seem to have a very high tolerance for generally everything. So the likelihood of it working on Zoro is highly unlikely. Also, I forgot to mention this, Zoro can cut through metal, which would mean that he directly counters the Hashira, and unfortunately this ends up being a Zoro stomp. But if any of you guys have a different way of looking at things, or if there's a different calculation that you guys would like to share about the Hashira, please, I would like to hear your opinions. With that being said, I'm gonna head out. I'll see you guys later, and peace out.